back to my channel Tech Tips and Tricks for Seniors. Today we'll be talking about 3 specific apps, so stick around to find out more about these specific apps. Today we're going to be looking at Contacts, Settings, and Safari. So, once again, welcome back. I hope you stick through the entire series. It's going to be a blast. But let's get to it. Now, if you watched my last episode, you know that we talked a little bit about Safari and how important it is. Safari is the main browser on your iPhone. Now, you can download others through the App Store. We'll get to that in a different video. But Safari, once again, if you don't know what it is, look at the bottom of your iPhone. Hopefully, if you watched the last video, you know how to log into your iPhone. It's going to be the white box with a blue compass looking thing in it. Once you click on it, it's going to show up with favorites if you visit any websites, and it's going to come up with a search bar. Now, search browsers are very easy to use. They're very useful. They give you answers to your most dying questions, if you have any. But also, it's very useful for work purposes, of course, and research. You can go into your search bar and it's going to come up with a keyboard. Now, if you've never used one of these before, let me just give you a quick tutorial. The up arrow near the bottom left, that's how you turn it into a capital letter. The X is obviously the backspace it's going to get rid of if you mistype something. If you go to 1, 2, 3, it's going to come up with other numbers and other symbols. And if you go to the hashtag plus equal, it's going to come up with a lot more symbols, in case you wanted to look those up. But say you type in hi, it's just going to come up with a string of results. Just like any normal browser. You don't need to download anything else. Safari is no different from any other thing, from any other browser. It's going to give you a lot of those same results. I'm going to draw your attention to the button to the right, top right, that looks like a little arrow that's curled. That is the refresh button. Say your browser gets glitched for some reason, or you want your phone to update. Say you're really watching a sports game, and you're watching the play-by-play, and you want it to update, you're going to refresh. You click that, it's automatically going to reload everything and update the site. Now if you click the double A in the top left, it's going to come up with hide toolbar, request desktop website, and website settings. You don't really need to mess with those, but you really shouldn't have to mess with those. Now, near the bottom, you're going to see a book, 2 arrows that may be gray depending on if you've gone to a website or not, and then the beginnings of a cube in a book. Now, the 2 squares, if you have any other tabs open, if you want to open a new tab, like you want to save this specific website, you can go there and hit plus. That way, you can automatically go back to that website. Very convenient, and you can just go out and do your business in another tab. It's just like a computer, except it's stacked. So you can't really see it without knowing where that button is. The book is just going to have your bookmarks if you want to read anything, and it's also going to come up with your history. Your history is what sites you have visited. Your browser records everything you go to, unless you go into a private browser, which you can do that by hitting the tab button and hitting private, in which your history will not be recorded. And then there's also going to be the square with the arrow. That is the share button. You can then share maybe a specific thing through airdrop messages, mail, notes, different things, in case you want to send a picture through a text and you don't want to go through the hassle of having to save it and then find it and send it. And then you're going to have the two arrows. Those are your back and forward arrows. Say you go to ESPN, you click on the soccer, but you meant to click on football. You can hit the back arrow and go to football. Convenient? Yes. But if you want to go back to soccer, then you hit the forward arrow and it's going to take you back to that website. So Safari really tries to make it very easy for you to understand and to get to your websites very easily. Now, one thing I forgot to do in the other video was go through this one quick thing. So go to the top of your iPhone. If you were to take your thumb where it says the time at the top, and on the other side it has cellular, Wi-Fi, and how much battery you have. If you take your thumb and you drop down, you swipe down, just kind of like drag it, you're going to come up with a very convenient screen. Now, the four to your left are your airplane mode, cellular, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth. Airplane mode is only used when you're flying. Cellular data is when you're outside of your home, not on Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is pretty much specific locations. Cellular is just in general. Now, just by clicking on it, you can turn it on and off. If you turn, for cellular, it's green. Airplane mode, if it's on, it's yellow. For Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, if it's on, it's blue. If you hit it, if you just basically touch it, it's going to go gray, and that's going to signify that it's not on. On the other side, you're going to see the sound. Once again, you can control the sound from there too, instead if you don't know exactly where the buttons are. And you can also control the brightness on your phone. So you have troubles reading a dark screen, you can turn your brightness up. Once again, very useful because you can't really do that. I want to draw your attention really quickly to the bottom four things. These four things are one of the most convenient things. It's flashlight, from left to right, flashlight, alarm, calculator, camera. Flashlight, touch it, turns on your flashlight. If you hit the alarm, it's going to take you straight to that app. If you hit the calculator, it's going to take you straight to that app. You hit camera, it's going to take you straight to that app. You don't have to find it. You don't have to search it. You just have to swipe down and click on it. Once again, it's really simple, guys. It's just there are more complicated ways of getting to it if you have a million apps. But it's simple. If you just swipe down, click on it, it's right there. Voila. Next, I'd like to draw your attention to the Settings app. It's going to be a gray box with looks like a wheel. In there is all the functions. All those things we mentioned before, like airplane mode, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular. Also, it's going to have your sound, all the general things about it. If you really want to take the time, I would recommend that you go through and familiarize with some of these things. But you don't necessarily have to know what's in each and every single one of these. Because a lot of them are just different apps, and it's going to tell you a little thing about them, and it may have some different options. The ones that you really want to draw your attention to are the ones, the third column, if you were at the divide, the gray divide, it's the third section. That is probably the most important section for your iPhone, because it's all about it, all the functions, wallpaper, Siri, your passcode, your battery, privacy, once again, brightness. Say you were going to general, it's going to have lots of things you can go to and change. Like you can modify the date and time, the language. You can modify AirDrop. If you go into the one above it is also very important because it has notifications. That's where you can turn on notifications for specific apps. Sometimes an app will ask you for if you want to turn on notifications. Right below it is sounds. That's where you can change if you want it to vibrate, different sounds for your ringtone, your text, voicemail, mail, all these different little complicated things. If you really don't want to get ringtone, I wouldn't mess with it too much. The other thing that is important is contacts. Now, contacts is very, very useful. Say you want to put a person's number or address into your phone. Well, once you click on the Contacts app, it's going to look like a little book. It's going to have a little circle with like a little person in front of it and then 3 little tabs. And once it's going to throw up your card, which is all your information. Excuse me. And then it's going to have all your contacts. I know it's going to be overwhelming, but that's why they also have a search bar so you can search for specific contacts. If you want to create a contact, basically top right, hit the blue plus, and then you can fill out all their names, their information, phone, email, address, birthday, all that. It's very, very useful for containing information. So once again, an iPhone is very, very simple. If you just keep the basic amount of apps and limit, if you're just using it for its basic functions, an iPhone is really not too difficult to use. An iPhone is very beneficial. It stores your information. It uses the internet. It's all right at your hands. It just can be difficult to use because there's multiple ways to utilize it. My goal is to give you the easiest way that I see fit to get to app from app. One other thing, say you want, usually leaving apps open will drain your battery. That's true for some things. So say you accidentally open an app. Well, you want to swipe up. If you have an iPhone XR, you just swipe up, and then you can see everything that opens, and then you can just basically swipe up. I know for some phones there's an X, and you can just get rid of it. And so really, on an iPhone, it's simple to use, but complicated in the ways that you can mess up / it gives you multiple ways to get to things, pretty much. So I really hope that I'm making this easier than it may look at first. So please continue supporting my channel. It means everything to me. I can't wait to create more episodes, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.